Hi, I'm Anna, and these are my bookish surprises and disappointments of the year. I'll start with the disappointments and get to the surprises at the end, so we go from worst to best, although it doesn't mean worst, it's just disappointments that I was expecting a different thing or more than what I got. Tropic of Cancer, I haven't even finished it. I started it months ago, and it's by Henry Miller, and I've read just 70 pages out of 200 and something, and I haven't felt like going on. There's no beginning and end, there's no line, it's a little bit autobiographic, and I don't know, I don't feel like it. It doesn't have a line that requires me to go back to the book once and again. There's just bits, thoughts. He doesn't seem to feel okay with anyone or anywhere. I'm going to finish it, but I was expecting a lot more from it just because my mom used to love it. And, like, it just reminds me of my mother. She died when I was 17, so it just makes me feel closer to her somehow. The second one is one I finished recently. It's Into the Woods. Actually, I don't remember It is by Josh Sule, I believe, or Soler. The thing is that the book is not necessarily bad, but I found it led too much towards, oh, if you believe in God, if you're religious, you're good, and then if you don't do so, then you're bad. And it was constantly like pushing a little bit too much on that side, and I don't really feel comfortable with that. I mean, I'm an atheist, but that has nothing to do. It's like, you can believe whatever you want, but don't tell me that if you believe in something, you're good. You're good if you're a good person, if you want to care for others. You don't need to believe in a certain thing. Like, it's okay you believe in whatever you want, but it was too pushy, like, oh, you believe in God, you're good. You go to church, you're good. If you don't, then you're the bad guy. Or you're at risk of many more perils. So I didn't feel it was okay in that sense. And then it had another thing, and is that the background stories of the characters were very well made, I believe, but it was giving you hints and tips from the beginning, and let's say the discovery of what was happening didn't make that much sense, and at the same time was too obvious from the beginning. I just feel it wasn't right for me, but I also felt the plot lacked, how do I put it? Let's say logic. It wasn't logical for me. It was like, it was as if the author had set they wanted that to be what should be discovered, but then didn't know as well how to make a logical line somehow towards that outcome. I just don't want to tell you anything else in case you've read it. I heard this on audiobook. It was granted to me from Audiobook Boom and the author. But yeah, I was expecting a very nice, interesting, scary horror / thriller, and that's not what I felt I had gotten. Then there's a middle grade in here. I feel terrible. It's Murder, Most and Ladylike by Robin Stevens. Okay, it was a disappointment, but I really loved the story. The plot was nice. It was interesting. There was a great mystery being solved. But as I mentioned on some of my previous videos, I felt so uncomfortable because it was like there was fat shaming, Eurocentrism, colorism, racism, you name it. There are two main characters, Daisy and Hazel. Daisy is this typical English high-class girl, blonde, blue eyes, successful, popular. And then you have Hazel, who's a new girl who arrives when the school year has already started. And she's Asian. Hi, this is Editing Anna. I realized I had lost a whole clip, and this is my fourth time trying to record this because I don't know what the problem is with the audio recorder on my phone. So I'm trying with the computer this time. I was saying in this clip that the problem in here is on one side that Daisy mistreats Hazel, not only Daisy but also the other girls at the school mistreat Hazel for being Asian, and they treat her as if she was inferior for this, and that Hazel has dark eyes, dark hair, is chubby, so she's not like this prototype high-class English girl, which is the reason why she also considers herself as inferior. This is the second problem. I mean, why? The problem is not this, actually, is that there's never apologizing. Because if this happened, then at some point there was Hazel's realization that she is as capable as the other girls, that she's as good as the other girls, and that being different doesn't make you inferior or superior to anyone else. So there's Eurocentrism, there's fat shaming, there's colorism in this book, and there's apologizing from Daisy to Hazel for believing she's not capable, but the author doesn't relate this to the fact that she's Asian. Like, there's never, I'm sorry because I thought because you were not English or you were not blonde or you were fat, you were not capable of solving the murder. I don't know, whatever, something like this. But it's never related to it. So I believe children who read this book may think that these thoughts are actually appropriate. And of course they're not. So yeah, that's why I was so let down by this book and I gave it 2 stars. Then Falco. It was a disappointment because Arturo Pérez Reverte is one of my favorite writers of all times. He's a Spanish journalist who started writing after he got tired of the bureaucracy of war, because he was a war journalist, and he started writing. He is writing amazing books, very nice writing style, properly documented, but this one I felt was lacking in depth, and it had some stereotypes I disliked. Basically it was okay. It's about the Spanish Civil War, and it was okay, but just okay. So yeah, that's why it was disappointing. But this is the first one in the trilogy I plan to continue with. Then we have Aphasia by Javier. I don't even remember his last name. I'll add the book cover here. And the thing is that, sorry, Sirius wants to come into the video. Come on. Hi, say hi. Oh, he's the best ever. And Aphasia, I couldn't find the beginning or the end. I didn't think there was logic within it. I mean, it was all written straight, like there were no paragraphs. no punctuation marks, basically, or at least none in place, if you can say it. It was quite hard to understand even the sentence. A very slow read because you couldn't read it properly. I believe the format didn't help, but I don't think that was it. And the thing is that when he presents a book, he basically aims it, dedicates it, if you want to call it, to his a university professor who used to tell him he shouldn't write like that, and tried probably to teach him to write more clearly. And well, he was like, you told me I couldn't write, here it is, I shouldn't write like that, here it is, something like that. So it's like more a revenge plan than a real exercise of passion I felt. So yeah, no, I mean, I had to DNF it. It was impossible to read that thing. Then we have The Girl Who Stole an Elephant by Ms. Rana Farouk. I read this one on ebook in January for the middle grade monthly book pick. And I was expecting a wonderful, adventurous middle grade, which is what I got. I got a lot of adventure, but it was impossible for me to completely like the main character. I felt her motives were not right. Like, it was teaching children lying would be okay at some point for some reason. I felt there was a lot of some logic missing. I felt it had some logic missing. It was a disappointment just because I was expecting a lot more from it, but it's not a bad book by any means. I mean, I gave it 3 stars, which is fair enough. Then Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nyan. I believe that's how it's pronounced. I'm sorry, I couldn't, I finished that one, but I'm not going to continue with the series. I mean, the book had many interesting elements. It's a female fantasy romance, and I love the fantastic elements of it. And it's a world in which there are castes, I believe it's called in English, which are social, a different social status depending on basically the social group you belong to, or the family you belong to. It tells a story of how there's a king and a group of girls is chosen every year to become one of his many wives, and then are constantly being raped by him, forced to do many things. Like, I don't even want to say, but it's quite a hard book. I mean, this is a huge trigger warning for rape, sexual assault, and not consented sex. But the thing is that the only thing I would care about at some point was the romance, because the rest of the book was lacking interest. I'm simply not interested in the rest of the book. Like, I liked the outcome and how it came to be. I felt horrified by the sexual assault issues and rape, but the rest was like meh to me. There was like, I don't know what it was. I think it was something in the writing style, but I was expecting a lot from it. I actually think I gave it 2 stars because I felt it wasn't for me. Now, the surprises. This first one is one I was not expecting to like or like as much. I don't know, don't ask me why. I thought I was not going to like Sophie Anderson's writing. I have no idea. I was totally wrong. And this is A House with Chicken Legs. Now, this book was so beautifully told that I just couldn't stop reading, didn't want to. I wanted to finish it in one go, actually. I couldn't because I had to sleep and work and, but I wanted to finish it in one go. Sophie Anderson did a wonderful job at retelling the Baba Yaga story. This is a Russian folklore story about houses that have chicken legs, in which there's grandma helping the dad get through to the other side. And I don't even want to say anything to you. I want you to read it. This is a must read. Sophie Anderson has a beautiful writing style, not too complex, not too simple. The way in which she starts telling you the things, like nothing is revealed too soon. If there's a hint given, there's a reason for that hint to be there. It's very well planned. The characters are so likable, although I wanted to kill the main character a couple of times. Yeah. But it was so relatable and felt so real. It was just impossible not to fall in love with the story, and it's a perfect cozy seasonal read. Then we have what became my favorite middle grade of all times, and this book will be on my top 10. I'm not going to say much in here, but it is Tilly and the Book Wonders by Anna James. It's the first one in the Pages and Co series, and I need to read this whole thing as soon as possible. I couldn't get it, the physical copy, because I cannot get it in Colombia. I'm going to try and get the whole collection at some point, because I'd rather read middle grades in a physical copy. But this is a book about books, and you really need to get to this book if you like those. I mean, I think most of us like those books, but this one was just everything: character, environment, atmosphere, plot, everything. Absolutely everything was spotless. It's just, I have no words. Then we have Akotar, A Court of Thorns and Roses. I was quite reluctant to read Sarah J. Maas because of the romance. I heard it was too heavy in romance, there was smart. I'd rather read fantasy where romance is not the main thing. But I had also heard it was a Beauty and the Beast retelling. So I felt compelled to read it, given that. And wow. I mean, the way she plays with you, with the image you have of the characters, it's just incredible. Like, my friend Siobhan and I felt the exact same thing with this book. We thought we were going to hate it. She's Siobhan from Siobhan Louise Reads a Lot. I'll link her down below. But we thought we were going to hate it. I read it months before she did. But once we did and we discussed it, it was the same feeling. It was like, oof. Like, we need to know what happens after this. From book number 1 only, we feel quite differently from than the way the rest of the people that have read it. I don't know, but I don't care if her choices make sense or not at this point. But this book was just, I mean, a positive surprise for me. I don't even know what to say, except for what I've said. Like, I need to know. I'm so attached to the story, to the characters. It's also quite atmospheric. I don't know. It's too good. I love what she does. It's quite psychological. Then we have Gypsy Blood by Christine Cummings. I started reading this book thinking it would be a trashy kind of romance thingy, and I saw the word vampires and I was like, new age vampires, no thank you. Well, let me tell you, this book is so hilarious. I would laugh out loud at least once per chapter. There's the story of a girl who's from a gypsy family, and it's so diverse too. There are gypsies, there are vampires, ghosts, werewolves, many partly human creatures, and the sense of humor is just perfect. The thing is, this girl doesn't know she has certain ability, or doesn't know these creatures exist within that town, or she doesn't even believe, I think, they exist. But the sense of humor, the way things happen, is just perfect and funny. Highly recommended. Oh, I nearly forget to say, it is an adult book because they're, sexual remarks. Get a life, Chloe Brown. Believe me, I don't like steamy romances. And this one had quite steamy scenes. It's a contemporary romance about Chloe Brown, who suffers from chronic pain and illness, and her bucket list. There are certain things she wants to get done because she doesn't know when something's going to come along the way because of her illness and not allow her to have a normal life. So she has certain aims she wants to meet, and there's this guy who's the caretaker of the building where she lives, who is quite different to her, doesn't like her, is an enemies to lovers story, and I just thought it was funny, interesting. I loved the story so much so that I got the following book. It is the only book I have ever pre-ordered in my life. So you can have an idea how much I like the first one. I haven't gotten to it yet. Oh, and I forgot to speak about this series on my series to finish in 2021. Oopsie. Well, this one is included, so it's not 22 but 23 series now. I was positively surprised by it. Gave it 4 stars, although most people have given it 5, so I really hope you can get to it. Let me know if you've read it, what you thought. Views from the Cockpit, Journey of a Dawn by by Ross Victory. This is blog author who sent me this book in exchange for an honest review. And it's a non-fiction book, a memoir basically, of the story of his father and his relationship with him. Is such a heartwarming, beautiful story of loss, grieving, family, love. He got to my heart so much, I had to cry several times. It was just beautiful, perfect. I love the way he narrated himself in audio, and I just love the way he narrates it. I love the feelings it gave me. I love the fact that he made his own music for the audiobook. I loved his relationship with his father and how they overcome any hardship that could have happened. Like, he shows his father as a normal person, and he shows the difference, like what he thought of his father when he was his hero to what he thought of his father when he realized he was just a normal man, and how he still admired him, and the development of the relationship throughout the years is just, it's perfect. I think everyone should read this one. Then we have A Wedding in December by Sarah Morgan. Okay, I didn't read audiobooks until I started A Wedding in December. One of my best friends, Pepi, I'll link her Bookstagram down below. Read it and absolutely loved it. I decided, by her recommendation, to try the audiobook sample you normally get on Google Play Books or Amazon. Tried it and I was like, I need to read these. I love the narrator. So yes, that's what I did. I started, listened to it. I couldn't stop listening to it. It's a contemporary romance. Also enemies to lovers, although I don't like enemies to lovers much because I don't believe in them. Curiously, 2 of my positive surprises of the year are enemies to lovers. This is the story of 2 sisters and a mother, and one of the sisters decides to marry. Then the other one sets her goal at avoiding that marriage from happening, stopping it from happening. And then the parents seem to be fighting. I don't want to give you details, but it is a cozy, beautiful seasonal read in which there's no traveling, much love, and romance. It's so funny. I really loved this book by Sarah Morgan, so highly recommended. I cannot get tired. I mean, I didn't listen to audiobooks until I listened to this one. And then this one got me started so nicely that I haven't stopped yet. I've finished 152 books this year so far, and it has been because of a wedding in December. And the last book I wanted to mention today is Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. It's the story of Claudia and Monday. They're best friends, and one day Monday just doesn't call her, doesn't reply to her calls. She tries to contact her in every possible way, and Claudia knows nothing about Monday. Monday seems to have disappeared from the face of the earth. So she starts this search, tries to ask for help from other people, friends, family. She even talks to her parents, states in every possible way she's worried, talks to teachers at school. I mean, it's the whole odyssey until she knows where Monday is and how she's feeling. I cannot tell you anything, but this is a very hard story. It deals with loss of a loved one, deals with child neglect, child abuse, mental health issues. Is a lot. But I really love the story, the way the story was set. It is also a contemporary. It is a young adult mystery contemporary book. And trust me, the plot twists, oh my gosh. I was so shocked. I never expected what happened, ever. I didn't even suspect. It was, I don't know. It was so surprising that I really, really loved this book, despite the hardships, the hard topics it deals with. I thought it was also a beautiful story of the meaning of friendship, and everyone should read this. It's just positively shocking, if you can call it like that. So that was my last recommendation. I hope you liked this video. Please give me your recommendations down below. And let me know which books you were mostly disappointed by. I want to know your opinions on those books and on the books that I talked about today. Let's see if next year I can read some of your surprises of 2020. I hope you're having a wonderful Christmas, and hope to see you tomorrow on my Bookmas. Bye!